I know being a mom is incredibly rewarding, but what about those dreams you put on hold? At Black Girls Fly, we're on a mission to reignite your passion for aviation. I'm calling out all women in their late 20s and 30s. Whether you've paused aviation for your family or career, it's time to take flight again. Black Girls Fly is here to support you on your journey. We understand the challenges, the dreams, and the desire to return to what truly makes your heart soar. Follow us on Instagram at Black Girls Fly Inc., and we'll catch you in the skies. Let that why motivate you. Let that why drive you. Let that why allow you to reach out and ask for that help. There ain't no humility in this one. This one is truly you need help, and that is okay. You're listening to She Built Success, and I'm your host, Claudia. Let's get started. What does the love of purses, 10 years past, and traveling have in common? On today's episode, I'm going to talk about how I became a nonprofit founder and started Black Girls Fly. So go ahead, relax, push play, let's get started. 10 years ago, so about 2013, I had this dream. And in this dream, I like to joke whenever I tell this story because I feel like God had a sense of humor and decided to give me this dream with a purse. I love purses and I love shoes. And in this particular purse, I was bent by the time I woke up on finding it. So I called my sister and I'm like, hey, this purse, I need you to help me find it. But that wasn't the real reason for the dream, because in this dream, I was being driven on the tarmac to a private jet. And the scene that I remember is the bag with me being in the car, and I was supposed to be going overseas. I vividly remember that part. In the jet, because, well, why not? It's a private jet. And 10 years later, after this dream, I was sitting down and we were at the dinner table as a family and talking about hobbies. And my kids were unable to list any of my hobbies. My partner's hobbies, oh, they had that on lock. Everything from golfing to woodworking and everything in between. But mommy's, no, she didn't have one. Didn't know one. So then I said, okay, well, I'm ready to travel again. Why can't we just pick that up as a hobby again? And then I paused because I wanted to experience private jet flying. In wanting to experience that, I said, well, if I want to experience it, I'll just fly myself internationally. Why not? Like literally me flying the plane. Let me go research it. I looked into how many hours and how much training it would take. And I recognized I'm not trying to make it a career. That was not my MO. So then I decided, all right, let me look into just what that looks like for what's the lower level, which is private pilot. But I came across a statistic that was very startling. That statistic, while I should not be surprised, was that less than 1% of airline transport pilots, that is those that fly for Delta, Southwest, United, you name the airline, are Black females. I have been in an industry that was riddled with Black females being the underdogs, not being seen, not being represented, not being heard. And to hear that in aviation, that same story was replicated, just a different field, no dice. So while I knew that I was not going to make aviation a career, but rather a hobby, I wanted to be able to present the opportunity to others who are interested in making aviation a career, the path. And that path was starting a nonprofit called Black Girls Fly Inc. Black Girls Fly Inc. came from a dream. Being a private pilot, well, that was just my own hobby. But being able to provide for the underrepresented and underserved a means to go after their dreams, the things that they put on pause or hold, or because they wanted to build their career, or they decided to have a family, I wanted to be able to make that possible, because the cost of aviation going into flight is by no means a cheap feat. Being able to provide a nonprofit that helps in the form of scholarships and partnerships, working with companies and agencies across the globe to bring aviation possible, flight possible, training possible, the resources, is why Black Girls Fly exists. Now, why the name? I actually oscillated on the name Black Girls Fly, and I didn't want it to be so polarizing, but in a way I did. I wanted to be able to provide a resource, to be able to provide a team of resources, No more GoFundMes. Yes, they're good, they're needed. But no, this is more than a scholarship. It's a career path. It's a choice. It's something that makes a change that lives beyond me. It's not about me. It's about pouring into the next generation, pouring into those in their late 20s and 30s who might have put it on a pause, being able to allow aviation to be a reality instead of just a dream. Black Girls Fly's mission is to change the paradigm, to shift an industry that right now is completely riddled by white men. And while we know that's the case across a lot of fields, Black Girl Fly is aiming to change that number, that statistic. No longer 1%. I want to increase that number. I want to be able to provide the resources, the tools, the finances for this nonprofit to outreach into the community. I know I cannot do this by myself, and I definitely know that a team needs to be behind me. So in thinking about building out Black Girls Fly, I know the board of directors was very big, and I had some very key resources and people that were in this vision with me, willing to help, willing to put forth. But I will say, Black Girls Fly almost did not get its 501c3 because of fear, my fear. I have formed a number of companies over the years, and I have filled out a lot of paperwork for these companies over the years. But I will say, the challenge of filling out paperwork and putting together packages to form a nonprofit is a completely different beast. And I got hung up on this one thing because I didn't want the nonprofit to get stuck. I didn't want us to get classified as just the educational resource because we were more than that. I didn't want us to get classified as just a youth program because we were more than that. So it took me a while. And when I say a while, from the time I announced to my money team, my internal team, and some of my close friends that Black Girls Fly was about to happen, to the time that we had our actual 501c3 in our hands, or in my hands, took a year. Now, I know you're probably like, well, that was quick. Actually, no, in my standards, it was not quick. It actually felt very long, but it was very long because of fear. I thought that if I picked the wrong code to classify our nonprofit under, that it would just ruin the whole thing, bring it to shambles. I had the figures, I had the statistics, I had the facts, I had the vision to be able to write down what Black Girls Fly looked like. We would have a fleet of airplanes to be able to train in, TAAs, technically advanced aircrafts. It would have glass panels. We'd have a couple of the regular 6-pack gauges. For those of you at aviation, you know what I'm talking about. But really, it was to bring that. And that vision was also to just be able to incorporate them into the fold of what it means to be in aviation. Not this surface level, you get a scholarship, pat on the back, and roll. That's not how we roll. It was really intended to stand up from start to finish, from private pilot all the way to airline transport pilot and beyond, to be able to provide them with a career path. And building out Black Girls Fly, that fear of what to classify us as held me back. Held back what I felt was too long of becoming a 501c3. And I'm saying this because sometimes we get in our own head, and it actually was not as bad once I finally decided on the code. You're probably like, well, what code did you decide on? I know if you've never formed a nonprofit, you probably don't know. But there is, kind of like in the business space where we have NAICS codes where we classify our business under a certain code for tax purposes and whatnot. The nonprofit has similar structures. And so we ended up going under economic development because ultimately Black Girls Fly is here to change the economy. It's not a small vision. This is a very big vision. And I'm looking forward to partnering with corporations, with people like you to help make the vision a reality. But I will say this, the one thing I'm thankful that I thought was going to hold me back, which was fear, did not. I fearlessly pushed go and submitted that application. And to my surprise, the approval came a lot quicker than it took me to lament over which code. And should I really submit this? Not because I didn't believe in the vision, not because I didn't believe in what we were putting forth, but because I was scared that it would ruin the platform that I was trying to establish. So Black Girls Fly is bigger than me. And when I'm gone, my prayer and my hope is that the vision that I see gets advanced. I am but one person, but as a community, as a collective, in aviation and not in aviation, through volunteers, through employees, through team, through boards of directors. My hope is that Black Girls Fly continues to live on. Now, that being stated, I want to take a minute to talk about those who are in aviation or might have paused their aviation hopes and dreams because of finances. While we're still in the midst of getting everything together and raising funds and having those scholarships available, I challenge you to reach out to us on Instagram at Black Girls Fly INC. Send a DM. Say that you're interested. We would definitely love to collect your information so that when we're ready to push go, when we're ready to make those scholarships available, you'll be the first to know. Now, I say that, and I'm going to continue to say that, because I believe that there are times where you need to be head to the ground studying, even if the money's not there. Studying so that you'll be ready to push go when you can get in that cockpit, when you can be on that flight deck, when you can apply for those scholarships. We will be there. We will be there to help carry your dreams. We will be there when there's tears of frustration, because trust me, as a student pilot right now, those are tears of frustration because studying is no joke. I am cool when I'm flying in the skies, but the studying, and I'm just going for a PPL with an instrument rating. So y'all, I have the utmost respect for you all who continue to hold up and soar. But I will say, and this is specific for the women, the moms, those who are scared for whatever reason, it's time to stand up, because the statistic between your late 20s to late 30s is dismal. We drop off the map. I mean, I'm no longer in that demographic, but that demographic completely drops off the map. There's a big dip. If you go look at FAA statistics, there is a big dip for women, Black women, 20s, late 20s to 30s in aviation. And I believe it's because we're trying to be a mom and we're trying to be a partner and we're trying to balance our career, and we just run out of funds. We run out of steam. We run out of motivation. We run out of determination. We get frustrated because it wasn't no longer attainable. It didn't seem attainable. Black Girls Fly is here to change that. We're here to reignite how you feel about aviation. We're here to challenge you to pick it back up. It's not too late. And if you're beyond the demographic I just quoted, that's okay too. Pick it back up. It's still not too late. Get your medical. Let's get it started. Black Girls Fly was not created for or to be an overnight success. I completely understand it's going to take time to grow, to develop the corporate sponsorships, to put on the scholarship galas, to raise the funds. But we're here for you. So as long as you're able to be with me on this journey that is Black Girls Fly, I encourage you, reach out, say hello. More often than not, I'm the one behind the social account until we get a bigger team. And I will speak. I'll even send videos. It's just something that I do. But being able to see you succeed, being able to see you fly again or start flying is rewarding. Knowing that you're not in debt or stressed out because you have all these bills to pay because you decided to take a loan to follow your career or to follow your passion. No, we got to change that. We got to bump this 1% to hella high. And yes, it's going to take time. And I know those numbers aren't going to change overnight. But that one small step, that one, I think I can do it. That one, I know I can do it. That decision, have the conversation. Talk to a friend. Pull in your spouse. Guess what I'm thinking about doing? We're not yet global, but we will be. We start with one small step, and that's you. Taking action, reaching out, getting ready, studying, shedding some tears, because once again, your dream can be reignited. I often pause sometimes when I'm working with my instructors, and I've had the pleasure of having actually 2 Black female instructors. I tell them or ask them, hey, who did you train with when you were coming up? Because they're CFIs. Who did you train with? And they would tell me, I mean, of course I wouldn't know them, but it was a white male. And that's okay, not knocking it. Again, I know the industry is saturated. But I told them, do you know the type of impact that you have being a Black female, being a CFI? It's huge. And so while your aspiration might not be ATP, you might just want to be a CFI. That's okay too. Hell, you might just want to get your private pilots to instruments and then go commercial. That's okay too. Maybe small commercial. But what I want you to think about is your why. Let that why motivate you. Let that why drive you. Let that why allow you to reach out and ask for that help. There ain't no humility in this one. This one is truly you need help, and that is okay. Aviation was a passion. It sparked something in you. Let's get it reignited. Let's get you back in the plane. Let's get you back training. Black Girls Fly is here for you out of a dream. And while I know my thing will still be purses, we're going to work on getting a really nice flight bag that, can kind of work as a pseudo purse. But until then, follow us at Black Girls Fly Inc. on Instagram. Reach out, say hello. I promise you, I'll talk back. Until later, I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success.